Hello. I don't know if you are able to hear me or not. Hopefully that you are. Just let me know. So I feel like maybe my connection might be kind of bad. I know there's people in here because I can see them, but no one's typing. I think it's kind of a delay. So just let me know if you're able to hear me. Hello. I hate this delay. It's so weird. Guys, let me know if you can hear me. Seriously, because I won't record. If you can't hear me, I'll have to just turn it off and start over. Oh, what a nightmare. This is not even moving. Hello. Oh my gosh, that took like an hour. Okay, thank you for answering, Sandy, because I guess everybody else is just not saying anything, but thank you. So, I decided to do this live, and I don't really think a lot of people are going to be in here, but that's okay because I could just leave it up for tomorrow. Um, but I wanted to do this live so that I was going to do it in my regular format of just typing things out and just having a regular video, but I decided that I would rather do it this way. I think it's going to just be easier to just kind of explain, though there won't be a lot of visuals. I can just kind of reference anything that's necessary. I did tell you guys that I was going to do a traditional video about the number 11. Because I thought it just really was really important, and it is important in how things go. The last video, I just kind of went over some things that were interesting, but I really wanted to dive into this whole premise now. So he's kind of waiting for more people to come in here. I don't really know how crowded it's going to be because it's most of the people who follow me are not in America, or they're on the East Coast, so it's super late. So I will see how many people actually show up. But oh wow, you're just hearing me. You're really delayed. Am I delayed? You guys must have like a 10-minute delay. It's crazy. Um, that's nuts. So that's insane. Hi, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, so I will get started in just a few minutes. Like I said, I'm just waiting for a few more people to come in so I don't have to go back and start over again. Um, I'd rather just do it live, so you can't see to type. I really don't like doing videos this time of night because I feel like I'm on the West Coast and everyone's pretty much sleeping right now. I should have waited till tomorrow to do this, but I just wanted to do it now because I don't know, it just felt like getting the information out there. Hi, Kimmy. Hi, Clea. Hi, Charlene. Hi, A Place with No Name. Hi, Sandy. Hi, everybody. I don't think anyone else is coming, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So, I wanted to talk to you guys today about the number 11 and kind of how I started tying it in with Michael. I had previously, I actually have some notes here. So, in a previous series, I spoke about the number 7 and how it related to Michael Jackson and his life. It seemed to be centered around him from the moment he was born. So I talked about the number 7. We all know about Michael and sevens. I mean, that's very anyone who's somewhat a savvy Michael Jackson fan knows that sevens play a lot into him and his life numbers and all that other stuff. But I actually took it a step further and spoke about 7 years before Michael's birth. There was a strange thing that happened in the world. Well, there was lots of kind of strange things that happened in the world that seemed to kind of relate to him 7 years before his birth. I didn't quite get a chance to finish that series. I'm definitely going to. Don't worry. I'm going to go back to that because I just really now I see the significance of it. But today I just wanted to kind of talk about the urgency of 11 because I feel like that is even more urgent than, you know, talking about the sevens. I know that like numerology, this stuff can be super boring to some people. A lot of people are just really interested in like clues on Michael Jackson fake stuff. That's all they care about. And I totally get that. My way of doing things is totally different. I'm not really interested in the sensationalism of Michael faking his death. I just believe that Michael's alive and I believe he left for a reason. And I think that reason has something to very much do with things that are happening in our world today. And that's just kind of how I convey it. So if you're not someone that's really interested in those kinds of like things, you're just looking for like clues and stuff, this is probably going to be very boring to you. But I just think this is really important. These things are significant and they mean a lot and they all come together. So without further ado, I'm going to get more into that. Um, so the number 11, now I have always found the number 7 and 11 to be very significant when it comes to Michael in 2009. Um, so we'll talk about that again later, how they kind of coincide with each other. But right now, just really want to focus on the number 11. So the number 11 can actually symbolize a multitude of different things depending on your perspective. People have different perspectives on it. So I wanted to kind of touch base on like all of it, how it's perceived, and why I always think it's significant when it comes to like knowing about things. So, and the biblical meaning of the number 7 seems to be associated with imperfection, disorganization of systems, and the disorder of chaos. Like, so basically just chaos. So if you look in the Bible and you see the reference to number 11, you almost always see it referenced in some way to like chaos or things being completely out of order. But in numerology, the number 11 is a little bit different. So in numerology, 11 represents higher ideals, invention, refinement, congruency, balance, fulfillment. Let me see here. I have some more notes. Basically, just things relating to everyday life. Um, so when you take, if you're kind of like a spiritual person, you know about like vibration and how you guys know about that stuff, but just like how we vibrate, how are as human beings, as spiritual beings. When it comes to like vibration, 11 carries a vibration frequency of balance. So when it comes to those, it means to be completely balanced. It represents male and female equality. It contains both sun energy and moon energy, simultaneously yet holding them both in separate perspectives. So it's about balance. It's basically like about oneness, but it's also about the balance of being separate. And there is legitimately 11 people in here. I know that's kind of creepy, but that's okay. um, and basically, number 11 makes us aware of our balance. So the awareness in our balance is basically the balance in emotion, thought, and spirit, the balance of masculine and feminine aspects, and the balance of work and play. So it's really like, whereas in the Bible, for whatever reason, it kind of means like chaos and disorder. When it comes to other things, it definitely means like to have a balance in things. Um, so those who recognize the spiritual meaning of the number 11 in their lives are quite sensitive to vibrational frequencies. So matching these attributes above listed, so the things that I spoke about previously, 11s appearing on a constant basis are indicative of a reflective, thoughtful, and intuitive soul. So if you're always seeing like the number 11, a lot of people actually mention it, they always see the number 11. That is definitely because you're an intuitive person. You are seeing 11 just once it's activated, it's like always there. So you're always, maybe something's about to happen. 11 presents itself to people who appear to be very psychically connected. So if you're a person that has like visions, feelings about things, you're clairvoyant, whatever that may be, you will see 11s a lot. And there are other numbers like this as well, but 11 is a very like huge one. Um, So through research, I have noticed the number 11 associated with Michael Jackson almost as much as I've noticed the number 7. And I'm really excited to talk about, that. But first I would like to just like talk a little bit about before I get into all of that, I want to kind of talk about something very, very, very like interesting to me that I recently discovered. So Michael was born in 1958, so I talked about that in a previous video, and I talked about 7 years before his birth, but when I went back and did some research about 11 years before Michael's birth, it was crazy the things that I found out. So 11 years before Michael's birth was the year of 1947, okay? So I'm gonna go through kind of a list of different things in 1947 that are, like, just crazy to me that they happened to be 11 years before his birth. Um, and it might not really make a lot of sense right now, but it will make sense later. But so in 1947, it was a very, very, very big year for numerology and just jaw-dropping phenomena and discoveries that were made. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to kind of touch on, which is, it's not really like creepy, but it is interesting if you're kind of into like political things and just political things that are happening in the world. 1947 was a lot about controlling public perception, especially of this country of America. So the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, began to operate in 1947. So the IMF was conceived following the breakdown of world trade and currencies during the Great Depression to oversee the international monetary system of exchange rates, international payments. Basically, this was done to establish a world economy, and incidentally, the IMF is now part of the World Bank. So we don't have a one world currency yet, but the one world bank was kind of was has been established, and the IMF was like the basis for that. So in 1947, I guess it was way after the Depression, but they decided like, hey, listen, we have to get together and talk about how to control the money. Okay, so that was established in 1947. Now, IMF was actually conceived in July of 1944. When I was doing the numerology on that date, July 1984, it's basically July being 7 plus 1, 9, 4, 4 equals 25, and we have 2 plus 5 equals 7. And you will see that in this year of 1947, you will see a lot of this like 7s and 11s appearing a lot. Numerology is a very, very big, I mean, there's numbers in everything, just generally speaking. That's just how the law of science works. But numerology is used a lot to control people, always. So that was very interesting about the IMF bank. Like I said, it's kind of political, but if you look at how things are controlled now, it's interesting that that year it's when they decided to establish this one world, let's control the money thing. So it could be the IMF came into formal existence in 1945. So when basically it's in 1945, it had 29 members. So it was exclusively 29 members, which is like basically 29 countries that signed the Articles of Agreement. So we know that adding 2 plus 9 together is 11. So again, these numbers are very significant in time. So there were initially 27 countries involved. I'm sorry, 29 countries involved in this. So right now there's 187. But during this time when it was established, specifically, I thought 29 was a very strange number. But when you add it together, you see why. 29 is 11, okay? Next thing, which is even more like exciting to me personally, which is like mind blowing, and I'll tell you why later. Roswell. I don't know how many of you guys are actually familiar with Roswell. I think everyone knows about Roswell, what Roswell is. So Roswell was a UFO incident. So on July 7th, 7 and 7, guys, an unknown object crashed in the general vicinity of Roswell, New Mexico. The United States American forces insist it was a high altitude surveillance balloon. On July 8th, Roswell Army Air Force, Roswell Army Airfield Public Information Officer Walter Haut in Roswell, New Mexico, issued a press release saying that personnel from the field's 509th Bomb Group had recovered a crashed flying disc from a ranch near Roswell. So again, we have this numerology. Not only was this on 7-7, which is crazy, but then you have the 509th, which is 5 and 9 is 14. Um, thing that crashed. So that was insane to me. They said it was just like some kind of disc that crashed, wasn't anything extraterrestrial, whatever. So kind of like, people stopped talking about it for like 30 years. And then in 1978, there was a UFO expert named Stanton Friedman who interviewed Major Jesse Marcel, who was involved with the original discovery of the debris in 1947. So Marcel expressed his belief that the military had covered up the recovery of an alien spacecraft, um, which included alien life forms. So you have the 1978 again. If you do the 1, 9, 7, and 8 equals 25, 2 plus 5 is 7. So these dates are very significant. When these things, and this happened like 30 years later. There's always a significance in the number 7 and number 11. That is like very apparent to me. And this is like something that we thought was significant with Michael, but this is like way before Michael was even here. Well, in terms of when the crash happened. So that happened in 1947 also. So 1947, I mean, there had been talk about, of course, obviously, there have been UFOs and alien things discussed all in history. But 1947, the crash well of Roswell is like a really big, significant first act of us really talking about getting the conversation about UFOs landing here, being here. So that was in 1947 also. Okay, so moving on, in 1947 also, the National Security Act was created. So the National Security Act was created during July when President Harry S. Truman signed it into law. The act facilitated a major restructuring of the United States military with the creation of the Department of Defense. This was in wake of World War II. So as part of the act, the National Security Council, the NSC, was created and served as a helpful tool for Truman and future presidents to coordinate and consult on foreign policy issues during the Cold War. Additionally, this is very interesting, it created the Central Intelligence Agency, which is the CIA. So a civilian-based intelligence collecting institution that is also used to complete secretive operations within foreign nations. The act became effective in September of that year and has remained a part of U.S. policy ever since. So in 1947, you have the creation of the Department of Defense as well as the CIA. So let's just kind of go back, it's crazy because you have this IMF, this World Bank creation. You have the crash at Roswell. You also have to the crash at Roswell, IMF, the CIA, Department of Defense. Are you guys seeing a pattern here from 1947? 47 was like when they started initiating, like really fucking with the American people. I mean, this is very clear. I mean, it might sound a little tinfoil hat-ish, but it's just the fact that this stuff all is happening in the same year is crazy to me. When you see it like this, when you see how it's aligned, when you see the pattern of things, it's really crazy how in 1947 all this stuff is like happening. Okay, so moving on. So what got me was the CIA and the Department of Defense and the Roswell thing. Like, what the hell? Why was that all of a sudden a thing? But okay, I digress. Then we have Israel. So this was Israel's independence. So the United Nations votes in favor of the creation of the independent Jewish state of Israel. So on November 29th, again, 11/11. Yes, exactly, Kimmy. Yeah, exactly. That's just insanity. I was going to get to that, but yes, that's just crazy in itself. So on November 29th, and we know November 29th is 11/11. We know that. 1947, the United States, the United Nations, I'm sorry, not the United States, the United Nations Special Committee on Palestine recommended the partition of Palestine into two separate states, which was Arabic and Jewish. Okay. I don't really want to get into that right now because that has a very, very big part of what I'm going to talk about later. But that also was a big deal. That was like a really big pivotal time in history when Palestine is divided. And that is of biblical proportions. We will talk about that another time. But that is just very fascinating. extremely fascinating to me. Like I said, I don't want to get into that right now because it's going to cause kind of confusion, but that's another big thing that happened in 1947. Okay. This is not like, I don't want to say lastly, it kind of is lastly, but um, it is last, but it's a big deal. And it's something that I really also don't really want to get into right now because it's going to be so significant later. But I did want to like kind of talk about it real quick. So also in 1947, we have the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. So in 1947, an obscure cave west of the Dead Sea, shepherds discovered some scrolls carefully placed in 10 tall jars. They did not know what they had come upon, but they sold the scrolls to a nearby dealer. This was the opening chapter to an astonishing archaeological find. Eventually, some 800 different manuscripts would be found in 11 caves near the valley called Wadi Qumran. Um, in all, some 60,000 fragments, portions, or complete scrolls of the 800 manuscripts were retrieved, and many different subjects with them. So this is the Dead Sea Scrolls. Many of these documents contain biblical texts, either fragments or complete copies were found of every book in the Old Testament except Esther. They had been placed in these caves around the middle of the first century AD. And the amazing fact is that they had lain there undisturbed for 1900 years. Before this discovery, the earliest manuscripts of biblical texts dated from the 9th century after Christ. This is why this is so significant. They were copies of earlier copies which were long lost. Okay. But now, for example, we have a scroll of the complete book of Isaiah dating from the 2nd century before Christ. It's 1,000 years older than any previous Hebrew scripture document that we had before 1947. The Dead Sea Scrolls are something that I want to talk about with you guys later, because it's really important. But again, that is another like really, 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 really insane thing to have happened in 1947 as well. So just to kind of like summarize everything, we have the number 11, like the significance of it. We have the IMF Bank. We have the world currency. We have the CIA, the Department of Defense. We have the Roswell crash. We have Israel becoming independent, and Israel actually became independent in 1948. But the vote for it to happen was in 1947. Then we have the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. So I previously spoke about things that happened, the year of Michael's birth, but it's really, really interesting that 11 years before his birth, all of these crazy, crazy moments in time, moments in history happened. Okay. And what's interesting is Michael was born in 1958. So you have all these things that happened 11 years before his birth. 11 years later, when he's born, you have the creation of NASA. So you guys, like, when people talk about, so NASA, I don't want to just skip over that. Like, NASA came about in 1958. So when you have people talking about numerology and speaking about things, it's like numerology is very real, and it's all in the Bible. It's all in any kind of religious text. It's numerology is very significant. But when it comes to things that happen, I am definitely like seeing a pattern. I was looking at just the different, I wanted to pull this up real quick. So Michael was born in 1958. He would have been 11 in 1969, 22 in 1980, 33 in 1991, 44 in 2002, but then his death occurred in 2009, which was he was 50 years. But you have those 11-year intervals. So you have 11 when he was born, 22, 33, 44. These are all 11-year intervals. However, when his death occurred, it was a 7-year interval. I don't know why that happened, but isn't that crazy that would be a 7? Like, what are the odds of that being a 7, him dying at a 7-year interval, but then it was 11 years before that? And then if he had, well, we know he like lived, but let's just say technically, had he have lived, he would have had 55. in 2013 and 66 in 2024. I don't know if 2024 is going to be a significant date or not. I'm going to break down all of these different years because there's shit that's going to blow your mind with all of these years. It's crazy. I mean, literally, I thought the sevens were insane. It's crazy. Numerology is incredibly real. It's incredibly factual, and Michael Jackson's life numbers were very just something that was just very, very significant in his life. And this number 11, I mean, there's so many things. There's so many things when it comes, like, it's crazy. It's really crazy. And I'm gonna get into all of that. I'm gonna like talk to you guys about all those different things. I'm gonna break everything up. I know I did the previous video that I did when I was talking about Michael and like the Hopi. I was looking at a video and I kind of wanted to do a video on this, but I don't know. I don't know if I can use Minicam to show you guys a video. Give me one. Let me just see something here because I don't really know how to do that. Let me see if I can. YouTube URL. Okay, let me see if I can do this. Hold on a second because I want to show you guys something. I kind of want to do a video on this, but I think I don't really have time because I'm gonna be so busy talking about other things. My internet's running really slow right now. Okay, let me see. I don't know if you guys know the Chris Brown song "Back to Love" that came out last year in April. But let me see if I can show this to you guys. And I don't know if it's gonna work. It might be blocked. Can't. Let me see. Hold on. I don't think it's gonna let me play it. Hold on a minute. I might have to do this during another live, but I wanted to show you guys something. Maybe I have to just, I don't know, this is not gonna work. Is it gonna work? Give me just a second. Let me see something. Copy link. I don't think this is gonna work in here, so I'm not gonna be able to show it to you guys. Hi, Sarah. I might be able to just like take a screenshot and show you guys, or maybe I can just cast it myself. I don't really know how I can do this. I'm not really good at Minicam, but there is something I wanted to show you guys in terms of okay, so this is kind of like off kilter that I wanted to even talk about in here, but I just really wanted to, I'm like dying to bring this up to you guys. Let me see if I can find do you guys remember the Hopi prophecy? Maybe I should just wait and talk about this a different time. Hopi prophecy. About the blue star Kachina. I was talking how I thought Michael was always referencing this. This should probably definitely be a different video. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this on here because I think it's I'm gonna like get off track, and I did a really good job staying on track with this. But Blue Star Kachina. I don't know if I want to talk about this right now. Maybe I don't. Because I have to look up the actual prophecy. My internet's really slow right now for some reason. I think they like slowed everybody's internet down because of what's happening. Because I feel like my internet's so slow. What the fuck? It won't even open up. Come on. I can't believe this is not working. I can't even find it anyway. I was on there earlier. Now I can't find it. But let's see. Prophecy. Chris Brown has this video. Called Back to Love, came out last year, 2019. It was really similar to like it was interesting because it came out after the documentary Leaving Neverland came out. And it was really cool because it was here. I mean, it's very much done in the likeness of Michael Jackson. I'm gonna just probably download this video and just do another live and show it to you guys. Yeah, I'll just do it in the next video because this is like, yeah, it's when he dances. He dances like Michael Jackson. It's really like interesting. Maybe I'll just wait till the next video because it's a lot. I don't want to like get into a lot of information. But yeah, it's very. There's something in it I wanted to show you guys though, because in the prophecy, it talks about the blue and the red star Kachina, and in his video, the very beginning, he has these two children playing drums. Oh, I can just take a screenshot real quick and show you. Let me see. But I'll explain it in another video. This would probably be more interesting if I could actually explain what the hell I'm talking about. I don't sound crazy. But those of you guys who follow that series will understand the reference to this. Give me 1 second. I just want to show it to you guys real quick. It's crazy as hell. I noticed it before, but I watched the video again this morning and I like got chills. Let me see if I can open this up. Oh, why did I do that? No, I want you. Okay. How do I do this? Let's see. Image. There you go. Okay. Okay, so I don't know if this is, let me know when this shows up for you guys. Can you see it? Did it show up? Let me know. So it's so crazy because like and not Michael, oh my God. So in the prophecy, it talks about the blue and the red star Kachina. So when I talk about this video, I'll explain this more, but it's really interesting because he sent, so it's about the purification. And so when Chris first starts the video, he like goes, it's like a well of water, and the well of water explodes and he starts singing. And then they show this blue boy in this red shirt child. It's crazy. I will talk about it in a different video, but I just, for those of you guys who remember, it's mind blowing. The video is very much like not Chris Brown. I'm a huge Chris Brown fan, but the video itself is very like not in his style. It's very much in the style of Michael Jackson, like in many ways. It's like it's more than like homage to Michael. It like literally is like Michael did this video. Like it's crazy. It's mind blowing. I'll just talk about it in a different video. But I did want to bring that up because I was looking at it earlier and I like I was like, oh my God, this is crazy, because it talks about the purification, like all this stuff that's happening right now is so, I'm so over this because there's so much to talk about. There's so. Oh wait, I'm getting kicked off of here. What's going on? Let's see. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. So yeah, like that was the information I had about the number 11. This is 1947, which was, you know, like I said, again, 11 years before Michael's birth. And of course, I'll talk about more. Yes, the Can You Feel It Peacock constellation. Yes, that's actually in this video. This video, I wish I could show it to you guys. It's crazy. But I will do a separate video on this music video. So what I can just do is I can just upload it to my Manicam and just play it for you guys and just show you that way. It's probably just easier to do that anyway. So I'll do that. And it's crazy though. It's, if you watch this video, it literally is just like Michael fucking like did the video. It's insane. But in relation to what I was talking about last year, the concept was written by Chris also. But I was talking about all this stuff like over the summer, talking about like the Kachinas and the constellations and all this other shit that's supposed to happen. And the video like likens itself to that whole entire thing. It's filmed in Paris. We know the significance of Paris and France to all the stuff that's happening. Well, at least most of us do. If you don't, you'll learn. But yeah, there's a lot, guys. There's a lot. And I just encourage you guys, if you are in the believer community, just share my videos because I know there are a lot of people who just like, I've never really I don't really care about having like followers. I have like 6,730 subscribers, which is not a whole lot. And that's fine. I don't really need a lot of subscribers. I don't really care about that. But I do feel like it's my job, with everything that's happening right now in the world. I have a business that I'm, working on building and like that's very separate from this. But I do feel like as a person, I consider myself to be a light worker. That's something I didn't really realize in my life until probably a couple years ago. And I have a, purpose. We all have a purpose, but my purpose is really definitely like to shed light on things. And people who are Michael Jackson fans need to, there's a huge portion of people in the world who are Michael Jackson confused about a lot of stuff that's happening. And I think like it's okay to be a believer and believe in the hoax and like to follow the hoax and like, or just be a Michael Jackson fan and not believe that he's even alive. It's okay. All that stuff is fine. But I do want people to understand that like Michael is telling what's happening. He is very, 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 yeah, we are Sarah for sure. He very much something to say and he has something. This is not even really about Michael Jackson. It really isn't. It's so much bigger than Michael Jackson. But this is how I can convey it to like people who are. I feel like you have to find people that are going to listen about something. And I feel like Michael's fans were able to actually understand what is going on in the world. It would be a huge population of people who were very aware of what's happening. And I don't really like necessarily like want to target like the believer community because a lot of people in the believer community are just head in the sand, head up asses type people. And I hate to say that, but it's very true. And they're just interested in things that have nothing to do with the truth. So if you could share my videos, like that would be awesome. I really would appreciate it. But I do appreciate you guys coming in here. I am going to open up my Discord chat. I'll leave you guys the link right now. I'm going to leave this chat open. 1 second here. I'm going to leave this chat open. What the hell? Oh, this is new. I'm going to leave this chat open so you guys can come in here and talk whenever you want. I might not always be in there myself, but I do. If there's ever a time right now where people need to kind of gather on the truth testings, it's definitely right now. And I am going to put out as much content as I possibly can. Like I don't really consider myself to be a death hoax investigator. I'm not investigating Michael's death hoax. I just want to talk about what happened and why it happened. And I think the why is why we are where we are right now. And that's all that I want to get out there as much as I can safely without someone coming in the fucking door and killing me. But it just needs to be said. We are in crucial times where you have to be very careful and very smart about what you're doing. And knowledge is power, 100%. So I mean, they are blocking people for even like having coronavirus in their title. So these are the times where censorship is really big, and it's because the truth is inevitable. You can't hide light with any amount of darkness. It'll always pierce it. So yeah, I just wanted to do that. You guys can go into my chat. I will be in there tonight for sure because everyone's like bored as hell and I have nothing to do. So I will be in there tonight if you guys want to talk. I'm just like making dinner and hanging out, but I'll be in the chat. So I know you guys were super quiet. I hope that was not boring. I know it's just like a lot of information. I did want to like type that stuff out. Yeah, Corona means crown. It does. It does. I hope it wasn't boring. I just wanted you guys to see this way. People are already in there. I don't know. I think they did something with YouTube. People are telling me they're not getting notifications either. They just happen to see me posting. Usually I have more people, but I just figured it was the time of night. So we'll see. Just constantly just follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook. I don't have an Instagram for this yet, but yeah. So I'll meet you guys over in the chat. I will be in there in a little bit. I'm making dinner right now, but I will definitely be logged in. So if you guys want to talk, like come talk to me. And I will probably be doing another video tomorrow. I just have to kind of figure out the I don't know if you guys like the talking or if you would rather have um the words. I don't know. You have to let me know what you prefer. All right. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you very soon. Again, come into the chat if you want to talk. You guys have to press the microphone to hear people speaking in the chat room, okay? Just so you're clear, we're clear on that. You've got to press the microphone to hear us talking. If not, you have to just like type words. But if people are speaking, you will not hear them unless you press the microphone. So you can disable your microphone if you don't want to talk. That's fine. But you have to press the microphone in order to hear talk or to speak, okay? All right. So I will talk to you guys soon. I love you. Thank you for listening. Be safe. Wash your hands. Social distancing is very important, guys. Remember, 6 feet. No crowds of people more than 10. Um, don't panic buy. Leave supplies for everybody. Um, pray for everybody that needs our prayers, and please stay safe. Okay. I will talk to you all soon. Good night.